All around the table we had gathered, the ones of us who remained after the war. Some of us chose to drink the pain away, while others, such as myself, had found other outlets. Out of our group of warriors, only 3 of us remained intact, for the most part. Adalbert, Bernd, and myself, Eldrick. Chosen to be raised as warriors from early childhood, we of course adapted to this way of life over time. Not to say it wasn't stressful. Throughout this whole conflict, I had seen men commit suicide, unspeakable things done to women and children alike. Perhaps the most gruesome scene I recall was the removal of the fetus from a carcass. I'll go no further into detail on the subject, for as we speak, it unnerves me and my stomach is becoming uneasy. In my spare time, I have taken up writing and art. Adalbert has resorted to becoming an alcoholic. We haven't seen or heard much from Bernd throughout the last few days. He seems to be keeping to himself rather than being sociable like he used to. Perhaps he had toned down his bloodthirsty, cocky nature. None of us were ourselves anymore, really to say. Flashbacks of corpses stacked in piles and trenches along with other repugnant stenches still haunt me to this day. We for once had gathered all around the table as to honor our gods for letting us make it through, and we wished good tidings for those who died worthy. Those dying in battle were considered among the greatest warriors of our time, and well respected. It's rumored after death, they take their place in Valhalla. I'm usually not the one for blasphemy, but sometimes I wonder if that's true. Did they die in vain? We raised our goblets for what would be the last toast. Hours passed by after our merriment and activity. Ada being a drunken fool, he provided entertainment for the night. Something seemed to bother Bernd, though. I wondered what. I lay in bed that night. Usually I myself fall asleep rather quickly, though throughout this night I tossed and turned. Perhaps it was the butterflies in my stomach warning me something bad was going to happen. I tried to shrug it off and sleep, but as soon as I almost fell into slumber, I was startled. Bang! A loud noise echoed from within the dining hall, followed by 2 more large crashes. It sounded like something like pounds of metal falling from the ceiling and colliding on the floor. All at once we rushed into the room. I seemed to be the only one lacking any clothing aside from my undergarments. The door had been torn from its hinges and tossed across the room. Adalbert, Eldrick, check every room in the base. I will arm myself with a weapon and post guard here. Bernd had spoken up for the first time in a long time. All the while myself, I seemed a coward, my body trembling in fear. Could it have been an ambush? We simply just nodded our heads. Bernd was quite influential in his manner of speaking, so to say. He was the only one with a plan. Arming ourselves, we set out upon our mission. Armor, sword, and shield. As did Adalbert, we both roamed the halls. I could tell he too felt the fear's eye. Checking each room, we were finally approached by Bernd once more. He signaled us to follow him, but keep quiet. As we arrived, he peeked his head around the doorway, blankly staring off into the darkness. Minutes seemed to pass before he stepped into the room, the cryptic stone door slamming shut behind him. The next few moments were Bernd's last. I couldn't break down the door. He screamed. Oh, he screamed. My fist slammed upon the mossy stone, blood staining the ancient engravings carved out onto it. Chills and tingles are rushing down my spine just speaking on the matter. Hours seemed to pass before, alas, the door started to crack apart, eventually shattering. Though receiving a minor injury, I wasn't concerned with it. I was concerned with my friend. Peering in, my stomach immediately dropped. In the middle of the floor, there lay what was once my friend. Not so much as laying, but he seemed to be molded into the room's very being. A pointed shaft or pillar, you might call it, impaled him. Maybe the room is cursed. Maybe he met a demon. I don't know. I never really exactly figured out. Turning back, I only saw my companion's expression of disgust, and that the fear had been placed into him as well. What sick hands were at play here? It all seemed to happen so fast, and before I knew it, Adalbert was taken as well. Gazing once more into the room, a shrill shriek escaped from between my clenched teeth. My eyes were probably bulging out of my skull by this point. A large black demonic shadow had embraced Adal, lifting him from the ground and into the air. Simultaneously, a pillar took formation of alongside of Burnt's body, before the demon dropped his flailing body onto it, straight through his head. For mere passing seconds, the room had gone dim before light faded back into existence. The room was smaller than I had remembered. In the room, there were 3 standing pillars centered as if they were prized sculptures. On the left, Burnt's face, frozen in terror, and on the right, a mauled and desecrated face that seemed to be what remained of Adalbert. Though the one in the middle struck a nerve the most. It was simply a hooded figure with no face and horns. I went in to get a closer look, but something had caused me to pass out. I know, generic, but it's the truth. I awoke sometime around noon the next day. Everything was somewhat the same, though there was only 1 pillar. No bodies were left behind. Had it all been a horrible dream? I stumbled in. My legs were weak and my stomach in a knot. The pillar had seemed to lure me in. I had got closer and noticed the strange aura surrounding it. My eyes must have been deceiving me. I had looked upon the pillar, finally within close range of it. Writing was etched into it, all kinds of writings on it, languages of which had long been forgotten, but I understood it somehow. It seemed I was this monster all along, the foul demon. I had been fated to this. I am writing this to the world, still alone in this labyrinth. My sanity has seemed to have been lost, and only I can find it, though I question if I ever will. Until then, I shall remain within this place, all to my own, facing this demon, conquering the unholy wickedness within me, writing the scriptures of past upon these walls, etching figures into these pillars.